Welcome to Sharkie's Gaming Controllers. I'm Sharkie, and in today's video I'll be taking a look at a very interesting controller. So technically this is not an official controller, it's a custom. Now this custom controller is from Japan, and the only name I know it by is a stationary type controller. Now it doesn't come in any colorform box, the box is pretty much just a plain cardboard box. It's got some Japanese and stuff on the side, but that's about it. So no official colorform box that I can show you. So going straight into the contents, once you remove everything from the box, you get the stationary type controller, you get a micro USB cable, and you get this manual. Now this manual's in Japanese, and it's like two small pages there. So on the first page, from what I can tell by using Google Translate, here it shows you all the functions of what each of the buttons and the analog stick does. Here it shows you the analog stick, and also here it shows auto dash mode. In auto dash mode, it just adds the shift key to certain diagonals, and this allows you to not only move but also run at the same time. And auto dash is something you can turn optionally on, it's off by default. On the side it shows you how to adjust things, so on the top here it shows you how to adjust the analog stick, and down here it shows you how to turn that auto dash on and off. So that's on and that's off, but it's off by default. And if you want to adjust either one of these two, then you actually got to open up the controller here using Phillips screwdriver. You undo these Phillips screws there, pull this cover off, and then follow these instructions to adjust either the analog stick or turn auto dash on or off. So it's a handy manual, but you'll have to use something like Google Translate unless you can read Japanese. Now taking a closer look at this controller, one of the first things you might notice is that the body itself looks to be 3D printed. Now it looks like it's been printed out of smaller pieces and then joined together using Phillips screws. On the base here there's a rubber sheet, and this just adds like an anti-slip when it's on your desk, so it's not going to slide everywhere. On the front here is your front access panel. So this is accessed by two Phillips screws. So once you've undone this, you can get into the mechanics inside and adjust both the analog stick and also turn on and off the auto dash functionality, which of course the manual is there and that details on how you do that. Now on the top here, there's some buttons and an analog stick. Now you may look at this and say, hey, those labels look like keyboard keys. That's because this controller detects as a keyboard when you plug it into your PC. So looking at these buttons, you've got 3, 4, F, tab, Q, E, X, 1 and 2. And these buttons press down quite nicely. They are quite hard, but they press easily and are very responsive. In the center here, you've got an analog stick, and the analog stick feels quite nice. And basically how this translates to a keyboard is that this is WASD. And if you go on the diagonal like that, then it's basically WA. So it just combines the keys together when you go on the diagonal. And if you press this down, that'll be triggering as a C key. Now in the back here, you've got 3 more buttons. These buttons are quite a bit larger, but they don't actually have their function printed on them. So the functions are Control, Space, and G. And these controller buttons are much more harder to press, but it does not matter where you press them. So whether you press them in the center or you press them on the edge, it doesn't matter. They will trigger regardless. Now down the bottom here, you've got the micro USB port. This is where you plug the controller in. So using that included USB cable, you plug it into here and then plug it into your PC. So you may be wondering how you use this controller and what it's used for. Well, basically this controller is a keyboard replacement. So instead of using the keyboard, you would use this in your left hand sitting on your desk. And in your right hand, you would have your mouse. So you'd have your mouse, you'd be aiming as normal. And then of course this hand will be controlling the movement of your character and the other functions using these buttons. So essentially, instead of having a large keyboard and having to stretch across to reach the keys you need, you have a smaller controller that have all the keys you need in easy reach. Now, considering this is a 3D printed controller, it's actually incredibly ergonomic. The way they've shaped it fits your hand exactly. So your side of your hand rests against the rest here, like that. Your fingers curl down the bottom here. Your other two fingers kind of control these buttons. and is just really comfortable. Reaching all the buttons is quite easy as well, so you can use your analog stick, and then when you need to press a button, you can just simply reach and press. For me personally, the only buttons I find that are a bit awkward, so when you're using this and you stretch up to these buttons here, you have to stretch your hand up a little bit. When you hit the Q, you got to kind of move back a little bit. And when you hit these bottom buttons, you've also got to stretch your hand a little bit. But realistically, when you're playing, you'll be using the analog stick most of the time and then just pressing these buttons when you need them. So it's not a prolonged stretch. And these back buttons are quite easy to trigger as well, and you can easily hold them down when you need them. So overall, it's a pretty cool looking controller, and it's a very comfortable controller. Considering this is a custom controller, they've done an excellent job at making it fit your hand, and it is a really great keyboard replacement. It's incredibly easy to install as well. You just simply grab the USB cable, plug it in, the computer will detect it as a keyboard, and then you simply just go into your game you want to play and customize the controls. Just like a keyboard, you can just press whichever one you want to assign to that command, and you're ready to play. So it's incredibly easy to use, incredibly easy to set up, and it is incredibly comfortable. So that was a stationary type controller. It's a really great custom controller. I really commend the people who made this, as it is an ergonomic controller. It is incredibly comfortable to use, and it works really well. And the setup is really easy. You essentially just plug and play, and you're ready to go. So it is really a great controller. Now, if you want one of these, I'm not sure where you would get one. I'm not even sure if they still make these. I actually found this a few years back on a Japanese auction site. In the manual though, there are some details just down there. I'm not sure if they're still valid or if they're even still making these custom controllers. But hey, if you're after one, it might be worth checking out. But they are really cool, and they've done a really great job. I mean, just look at that. It looks really nice. It's a really nice quality custom. So you guys, if you like this video, please hit that like button as it helps out a lot. Feel free to subscribe, as I have heaps more gaming controllers and accessories up very shortly. While you're at it, hit that notification button and share this video with your friends. Thanks again for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.